that we are going to leave no stone unturned in this investigation.
The nation mourning the loss of 67 people in the deadly plane-helicopter collision in Washington, D.C. Many questions remain unanswered tonight as the investigation just gets started.
The family's reaction is very simple. They don't want anybody else to die.
Tomorrow marks 1 year since a construction site collapsed, killing 3 workers at the Boise airport. How that lawyer accuses the builders of deviating from approved plans.
This is Fox 9 News at 9.
Recovery efforts continue tonight in the Potomac River after the mid-air collision between a passenger jet and Army helicopter last night. This is a live look this evening. At least 28 bodies have been pulled from the icy waters. The American Airlines jet traveling from Wichita, Kansas to D.C., the helicopter colliding with the jet on its landing approach to Reagan National Airport. No survivors, 67 people in all presumed dead, 64 on the plane and another 3 in the helicopter. Now tonight, the National Transportation Safety Board investigators have recovered the cockpit voice recorder and the flight data recorder from the plane. They're now at the agency's labs for evaluation. Also, in an FAA report obtained by the Associated Press, the FAA says one air traffic controller was responsible for coordinating helicopter traffic and also arriving and departing planes when this collision happened. Meanwhile, a prayer vigil held today in Wichita, Kansas for the victims, their families, and the city. As the nation comes together, the key takeaway is the powerful sense of faith the city has even in its darkest hour.
We need you, Lord. We need you, Lord, right now. We need you, Lord. We need you, Lord, right now.
Those were the words being sung at a prayer vigil in the Wichita City Council chambers Thursday afternoon as the city gathered to mourn the tragedy of Flight 5342. After several minutes of prayers and songs, the vigil was taken outside and finished at the Law Enforcement Memorial. That's where we met Carla Lee, a longtime resident of Wichita, who was supposed to fly to our nation's capital next week.
So it hits you that every day, every moment, every month, every year is precious. And we don't know when our next day is that we're going to be called.
Much like the vigil, Lee says when she heard the news late last night, she felt compelled to pray.
I prayed all night long. I lit candles. I put lights on. I ran all my music boxes. And I prayed the rosary.
Next to her candles and rosary were these flowers that Lee says she circled back to get on her way to work that she eventually brought to the vigil. The flowers containing 6 roses and a number 7 candle in honor of those lives that were lost.
God, we want to be a strength to those affected in our community, in those families, in those neighbors, and those friends. And then it stretches even further, God, way across states and different lines, God. This is our time, God, and you are calling us.
Reporting in Wichita, I'm Grant Palmer.
The deadly plane crash rocked the ice skating community. The Wichita flight was carrying several members of the Skating Club of Boston, including 2 teenage figure skaters, their parents, and 2 renowned Russian-born coaches. Olympian Nancy Kerrigan competed with them back in the 90s. She's a member of the Boston Club and said she was devastated to find out she knew people on board the plane.
You don't have to know everybody to feel that connection. We've been through the same thing, that training, that rigorous schedule of falling over and over and somehow picking yourself back up, which is like the main lesson I think learned in skating is you get back up.
The first time a plane crash has devastated U.S. figure skating. In 1961, a commercial plane crashed in Brussels where the entire team All 18 members were killed on their way to the World Championships. Paul George was 19 at the time and a student of one of the coaches. He says yesterday's crash was a vivid reminder.
My wife tapped me on the shoulder at 6:30 and told me, much as my father had done 64 years ago at about the same time of day. Very vivid memories come back. As Tinley said, we lost a whole group of friends. We all grew up together. We skated together, trained together.
Now, George says it took time, but the club came back stronger and better, and they will do so again. And we'll have much more on yesterday's crash and the investigation coming up throughout this newscast.
Now here's a look at tomorrow's forecast here in the Treasure Valley. We're going to see periods of snow and rain throughout the day tomorrow. We'll wake up to 8 o'clock at a temperature of 18 degrees. By midday will be 33, and by 5 o'clock we'll see a temperature of 38 degrees. Again, all of those periods of rain and snow throughout the day tomorrow. Now here's a look at our projected highs for today. It was projected to see 34 degrees in McCall, 41 in Idaho City, 31 in Stanley, 31 in Salmon, 42 in Mountain Home, 43 in Nampa, 43 in Caldwell, 42 in Ontario and Harper, and 45 for our friends in Baker City. Now here's a look at projected highs for the nation tomorrow. We're going to start to the east and move our way to the west. We'll see 44 degrees as a high in New York City, 39 in Detroit, 63 in Little Rock, 66 in Dallas, 74 in San Antonio. We'll see 54 in Albuquerque, 69 in Phoenix, 60 in Las Vegas, and 55 degrees in San Francisco. So if you are traveling, you know the temperatures for your destination. Now here's a look at our forecast for tonight. We're going to see temperatures in the 20s with light winds. It'll be clear and chilly this evening, and that is all the calm before the storm as we do see those rain, snow conditions moving into the forecast for tomorrow. Speaking of the forecast, here's a look at our forecasted highs for the next couple of days. We'll see a high of 38 degrees tomorrow, then we'll jump up as that system moves in, that low pressure, to a high of 46 degrees on Saturday, 43 on Sunday. Then we'll jump back up to 46s for Monday and Tuesday. Coming up, I have a full look at your extended forecast for the Treasure Valley and the mountains.
Construction continues at the site of the Boise hangar collapse where 3 people died 1 year ago tomorrow. This is new video showing the construction. People see the construction site from the freeway and also from passenger seats on airplanes on the runway at the Boise airport. The steel airplane hangar collapsed. The 3 people who died, 32-year-old Mariano Kokoch, 24-year-old Mario Sante Z, and Big D Construction co-founder Craig Durant, who was 59 years old. 8 other workers were seriously hurt. OSHA investigators completed their work at the site and released their report last year. In that report, investigators said Big D builders ignored numerous indications that the structure was unstable, including visibly curved, bent, and wavy structural I-beams. They also said there were unbalanced columns and several snapped wire rope cables. Now, city officials issued a permit last summer allowing for the removal of steel and concrete from the site. The hangar is now being rebuilt with some modifications to the original plan. The families of Mariano Kokoch and Mario Sante Z are suing Big D builders and others involved in the project. We spoke to the attorney for the family this week, who says corners were cut and safety rules were avoided.
The case alleges theories of negligence, gross negligence, and other causes of action. In essence, what we are alleging is these are corporations that have been for years, over 20 or 30 years, in the business of erecting metal buildings. They know better. They know what they're doing.
Attorney Enrique Cerna says his clients don't want to see something like this happen again.
So we are very critical of the way that the erection of the metal building that collided was raised. We are very critical of the engineering that was gathered and assembled into the project. We are very critical of the fact that the defendants, at least some of them that we have sued, the city of Boise granted one permit following literally months of very good designs to erect this almost the size of a football field hangar. And what ended up happening is some of the defendants created a secondary set of plans. And the secondary set of plans called for 30 or 35% less efficiency from the first set of plans.
Now, Cerna says the city of Boise did not approve the second set of plans that were being used.
The family's reaction is very simple. They don't want anybody else to die, okay? They don't care what color, what nationality, where you're from. A death is a death. You're an individual. You're a human being on this world, okay? So the reaction is they're a little bit in shock, but they hope that the second time around they do things right.
Cerna says it could be late this year before a trial takes place. Due to ongoing litigation related to the hangar collapse, the company says it cannot comment on the specific allegations at this time. Now, the company did send us this statement. It reads, "While this has been a difficult year for the families, employees, and friends of Big D Builders, Inc., we're so grateful for the continued support, love, and prayers provided daily by the local community." Now, we also reached out to the city, and they say there are no planned public events today to remember the victims. Now, this isn't the first case for Big D Builders failing to provide a safe work environment to their employees. Idaho's Occupational Safety and Health Administration citing the company 3 times before the hangar collapse in 2024. The violations, 3 from 2017, citing serious hazards to employees while working on a construction site, 1 in 2022, a serious violation for the same, and 1 repeat violation in 2023 for failure to provide fall protection for employees, resulting in an over $21,000 penalty. The company says it cannot comment, again, due to ongoing litigation. Radon at North Junior High School in Boise. Testing over winter break detecting higher radon levels in 3 classrooms in the cafeteria basement. Now, none in the gym basement or other areas tested. Boise School District leaders say they dropped the elevated levels to meet safety standards by increasing fresh air intake through the HVAC system. And they're installing radon monitoring devices as well. They plan to test the areas again over spring break. A concerned parent alerting the district of the radon possibility just before winter break.